What's up, snake fans? Dave Palumbo here for Muscle Serpents Daily, and this was almost a Monday video, but it got so late that it actually became a Tuesday morning video. That's what happens. Sometimes Mondays are crazy, but we're gonna go into the snake room. I haven't been here for 2 solid days because I was teaching my Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru course here in Cape Coral, Florida. It was a very successful weekend, but a busy weekend. So now we're getting into the snake room. I gotta see what's going on here. It's the heart of the breeding season. You never know what you can find. So we're gonna go inside, take a look, and who knows? I would love to see some great locks and some, move around some males here and there, and we'll see what's going on. But I do want to tell you one thing. I saw over the last, I think it was about a week or two ago now, someone posted a picture and then a video of a blue-tongued skink that they found that was pied. It was in someone's yard or something like that. I mean, it's so crazy how people find these things randomly mutated blue-tongued skinks. It's probably worth $10 million, because to whoever has it. I hear it's going to a zoo or conservation type situation over there because obviously a pied animal is probably going to have no chance of living in the wild, even though it looks like it's an adult already, and it's probably lived its whole life. But it's nice that it's going to get into a museum or into a zoo setting, so that maybe it could be bred and then obviously passed along. Who knows? Maybe in 5 or 10 years we'll see some pied. We'll see some pied blue-tongued skinks in the U.S. But the interesting thing about it is that the whole underbelly seems to be white, and then there's like a strip of pigment down the middle. It's almost like a mohawk, it looks like, and it's not like your typical pied patterning on like a ball python, for instance. It's interesting, and the tongue is pink, almost like I have an albino blue-tongued skink. They have pink tongues. Usually, obviously, blue-tongued skinks have blue tongues. So it is interesting. There's obviously a disruption in the pigment, distribution of that animal, and the tongue got no pigment basically, along with the sides and the bottom. So it's a cool animal. Hopefully, like I said, we can see them breeded over there in Australia, and somehow, who knows, mysteriously, it'll get over here to the U.S. eventually. But hey, there seems like there's pied in everything. I mean, there's a pied boa now. They found recently, and I've showcased that before. So it's exciting times. We have the pied berms. Pied is awesome because you get the white interspersed with the regular pattern. It just kind of makes everything look really cool. All right, let's get into the snake room, see what's going on. Here we go. Enchi, hypo, hurricane, with a definite ovulation there. I just kind of upset her because there was a dead rat in here actually that she didn't eat. She killed it, didn't eat it. Couldn't figure out why because she'd been eating so good. It looks like she's ovulating. I mean, that's a pretty big bulge right here. She hasn't eaten in 2.5 weeks now, and that's a good sign. She's a youngin'. She's only a year and a half old, and she was up to size. I put a male with her. I said, hey, let's see what we can do. Could produce some pretty cool snakes. She was bred to a hypo Enchi hurricane, so with another recessive snuck in there. We'll talk about if it comes out, but we can produce super hurricanes, super Enchis, hypos. They'll all be hypos. Let's hope she puts down a good clutch. Good sign, though. I like to see that. That's a wonderful sight. That is a pastel panther pied to pastel panther pied. I am doing this pairing again this year. I only produced 2 eggs last year, but I produced some really nice babies. If you guys remember those babies, I'll show them to you again. Just to refresh your memory, we produced a male and a female. This is the male pastel or super pastel super panther pied. Pretty nice looking snake. And then this one, I think this is the super actually. This is the super pastel super panther pied. Let's see if we can get this thing on this. See how much lighter she is. Yeah, I think he's probably just pastel super panther pied. This is super pastel super panther pied. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want to show herself off there. So this is we're duplicating this once again. Hopefully produce a bigger clutch this year. You want to see a big girl? This is a big ball python. This is a honeybee. That's a spider hypo. This girl, I've had this girl for a while. She's a 2013. She didn't produce a clutch for me last year because I think the male I bred her to just wasn't doing the job. So I don't know. She looks like she's going to lay something for me this year. She's looking very big, and she was eating really well. So we'll have to see what she produces this year. She was bred to a super pastel hypo banana Mojave head clown. So we should get some nice babies from her. She's big, probably get a lot of eggs. It's funny because this snake was probably worth a fortune when they first produced the first honeybees, which were hypo spiders. And nowadays they're not worth that much, obviously. I guess they're more common, but they really, look at it. I mean, as adults, spiders really do keep their color really quite well, I mean, there's a lot of like stuff going on here. I mean, this is just a regular First of all, I think the hypomelanistic, gene, some people call it the orange ghost, is very underrated. I would put it into everything. I have a lot of my morphs in my ball python collection. It just makes everything better, I really think. It just erases, some darkness, but it doesn't take away contrast. And you can see all that contrast right there. I mean, really nice. For an adult female ball python, truly, truly nice. All right, so this is going to be the surprise of the year. The year is kind of short, but it's the surprise of the year. I came into my snake room looking through some tubs and didn't expect to see this. I had no idea that she was that gravid. She's sitting on a clutch of eggs here. This is a pastel head clown female. So I'm starting early this year. I've never ever in my breeding history, which is not that long, I've gotten a clutch in January. She was bred last year, and I really thought she was going to go, and she didn't. So she must have been close, and probably when I put the male in with her, she was right there. The problem is I don't think that we're going to take a look. She's not too happy, obviously. There's a bunch of slugs in there. There's a couple good eggs. It looks like there's 3 good eggs in there. We'll take her off, and then a bunch of slugs. But, the fact that there's 3 good eggs, that's a really good sign. We'll pull her off, and we'll put those eggs in our egg box and put them in the incubator. Got to turn that incubator on. It's an early season. We're starting early here at Palumbo's Pythons and Boas. That's always fun. I did breed her to a GHI Mojave, so we could produce more GHI Mojave clowns. Actually, a GHI Mojave pastel, so we can have GHI Mojave clowns, GHI Mojave pastel clowns, GHI Mojave super pastel clowns, or we could produce nothing. We could produce nothing too. I'm thinking about the most positive stuff. I'd love to see some more GHI Mojave clowns. I really love them. They're terrific, and with the pastel in there, it's just as awesome. So, once again, first clutch of 2020, off to a running start here. That's our 3 eggs. The one has a little dimple on the end, or a nipple on the end. I candled them all, which we don't really candle anymore. You take your cell phone, you turn the lights off, you put the cell phone up to it. I would have showed you. However, I'm here at 2 in the morning in my snake room all by myself, so I can't film with my phone and put my phone up to it. So trust me when I say there's a lot of veins and embryos in these 3 eggs, which is nice. I wasn't sure about that 1/3 one, but it looks pretty good. Hopefully they'll all 3 make it. I'm going to put some saran wrap over this. This is my typical setup. I've showed you this before. I put my sponges on the bottom. I put water so that the sponges are saturated. I put my lighting grating. This is like the fluorescent lighting grating that goes up on the fluorescent lights. Cut it to size. Luckily, once you do it once, you can reuse it every year, including the sponges. And I put my eggs on top of that. I'll put a piece of saran wrap over the top, and then I'll put my egg, put the top on the top of that. Seal it. I don't even open it up. Once in a while, maybe I may vent it just for the shits and giggles, but usually I just leave it, and I don't even vent it. It doesn't really need it. If I start seeing moisture building up all around and it starts dripping, then I'll take the saran wrap off and I'll kind of wipe it up with a paper towel, and then I'll re-saran wrap it and reseal it again. So usually you don't get a lot of moisture until right before they're going to hatch, because then you get a lot of respiration. And you got to remember, these snakes breathe through this egg. This egg is porous. It allows air to pass through it. There's a little air bubble at the top underneath this egg, right at the top there, and the snake can breathe right through there. So that's where oxygen diffuses into the inside of the egg, and then it goes into the veins and the arteries that run through there, pick up that oxygenated air and bring it to the embryo. So these things can actually survive in there. It's pretty cool the way it happens, but that's it. This is first egg clutch of the year. You know, it wasn't a big one, but it's January, so you can't really complain too much, right? All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Hey, what a surprise, right? Who would have expected to see a clutch of eggs in January? Never happened to me before. I had no clue. That just goes to show you that these ball pythons will breed all year round. And the trick is that I don't know if the male is actually the GHI Mojave that had been breeding with her recently, or the male I put her in with last year, and you know, which was the Fire Spider Orange Dream Clown, which, you know, they're both would be pretty sensational clutches. Now we got 3 eggs, so you know, we'll find out. I'll know one way or another from the outcome of the eggs which was the father. And I don't think ball pythons can have multiple fathers for the parent. I've never heard of it, at least. So, because they have very small clutches. I just don't know if that's something they do. I think that the sperm that gets in there first wins the battle, and that's the father that we usually get. So it'll be a toss-up. Maybe we could have like a raffle or people can predict what the babies might be, because I just don't know. That sometimes happens, you know, when you don't expect to have a clutch. But she obviously was on the verge, you know. I can't imagine that the male from last year would have bred her. This just hasn't been a male with it that long. So I think it's got to be the GHI Mojave. But, you know, when a female is growing follicles, you know, and they're pretty large, and you put a male in, you might just time it perfectly like I did. I might have just timed it perfect. The GHI Mojave went in there, and boom, you know, she got, you know, the ovulation happened, you know, and then 30 days later, she laid her clutch. So I just might have timed it perfectly for all the wrong reasons, of course. And that's what happens when you have, when you have multiple ball pythons. Sometimes you hit nothing. Sometimes you hit something really lucky like that. So we'll see what happens. Once again, she's a pastel het clown. So 50% of the babies will be clown, 50% won't. 50% will get that pastel gene. And then whatever the male is, that'll depend on what we get. So both males were visual clowns, so 50% of the babies will be clowns, and that's really what the exciting thing is. That we love clowns, right? Can't have enough clowns. That's what I always say. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Tomorrow I'm going to show you about. Hopefully I can get around to it. Moving my blue tongue skinks into or getting them out of the cold room, bringing them in, warming them up, putting them in their cages, and hopefully starting to feed them, and then hopefully we can get them to start breeding. That's the goal. Haven't done that yet. This will be hopefully the first year we cycled them properly, and we'll find out about that. Hey guys, if you like what you're watching, make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications, hit that like button. We'll see you back tomorrow morning.